I'm Paul Foster, head chef here at Tuddenham Mill. It's a 13th century converted water mill which we've converted into a restaurant with 15 bedrooms. We've got 13 acres of meadowland with a river that runs directly into the restaurant. So it's beautiful this time of year. There's a lot of wild produce around here. Just outside we've got everything from stinging nettles to mugwort, hogweed, elderberries, wild garlic. So throughout the year there's always different things to pick. So for my Christmas alternative meal, I'm doing fish. Whole roasted gurnard, beautiful fish with some sprout leaves, some winter chanterelles, and then on the side I'm doing a whole baked celeriac and a salt pastry, beer pickled onions for some acidity, and some roasted cauliflower with roasted chestnuts. So first of all, need some good strong scissors. I just want to remove these fins. You get some on the side as well. The next stage is to remove the guts from the fish. I'm sure your fishmonger will do it for you if you're a bit squeamish. Fingers in and just remove nice and gently. And then as soon as all the guts are out, just need to give them a really good wash with cold water. So the next stage is to remove the head. The best way to do it, there's a little spike behind its thrills here. If you just angle your knife straight in until it stops and hits the centre bone, turn it over and repeat exactly the same. Swap for a more sturdy knife, crunch straight through, and then what you end up is a nice piece of fish. Just need to put it in the fridge and we'll pull it out just before it's ready to cook. Salt baked celeriac is the next thing I'm going to do, and it's just a fantastic way of really intensifying the flavour of a product. I've made a salt paste. It's pretty much equal quantities of salt and flour with about half the amount of water and egg whites, and you just beat it until it's a paste. If you put a small amount on the bottom of a tray, celeriac, it's washed, just trim off the rooty bits at the bottom and then sit it straight on and just adding it spoon by spoon. This is a protective coating that's not going to add any sort of flavouring to it. It's just creating a casing which salts it and intensifies it. If it's too thick, then you're going to really struggle to break into it. So the celeriac goes into the oven 160 degrees for around 3 hours. It's very difficult to check if it's done, but as long as you stick to those time and temperatures, it's going to be very soft. So as another side for this dish, I'm doing some beer pickled onions, which are pickled in a local beer. All the ingredients without the onion go into a pan. Some vinegar, brown sugar, some juniper berries, the thyme, and then a squeeze of honey. I'm going to bring this pickling liquor up to the boil, and whilst that's coming up, I've got time to prepare the onion. Take the top off, just nick the root off, straight into quarters. If you remove the skin, and then the outer layer that's underneath the skin tends to be very tough, so always take that one off. Just remove that root, just break them into their individual layers. What you get with the beer pickled onions is some lovely crunch, a nice burst of acidity which freshens up the whole plate. So as it comes up, onions straight in. Make sure they're submerged or obviously they're not going to pickle. And as soon as they're in, pull it straight off the heat. And what I'm going to do now, I'm going to cling film it, which will retain all that steam, help them soften and drop to the bottom of the pan. Leave it to cool, give it the odd shake. It's going to be ready within an hour. Next up is the cauliflower and chestnuts. It's important to get nice big firm cauliflowers because you want them to be nice and tight so it gets a nice roast on it. Cut it straight down the centre, butter in the pan. Whilst that butter's coming to a foam, just dip it in curry powder and then straight into the pan, flat side down. They're not going to turn it over in the pan, we're going to keep it only on the flat side. Really gentle fry on it, we're not cooking it too fast. Give it a pinch of sea salt now, and it's going to cook very gently in the oven until it gets all really soft and unctuous. So this kind of colour you're looking for, a nice even caramelisation. Transfer it to a tray. And the butter should just be nicely browned. We're going to cover it in tin foil. 140 degrees for around 12 to 15 minutes. So the longer, the slower, the better really. If you don't want to go through the rigmarole of prepping fresh chestnuts, the vacuum-packed, pressure-cooked chestnuts in the supermarket are fantastic. All you need to do is just cut them up and add them exactly the same way as I am to this dish. I'm just going to cook them in the same pan. Chestnuts in. The chestnuts are going to take about 10 minutes. Very gentle. We don't want to caramelise them too much. And you can cook this with the cauliflower if you like, but I just want to do it controlled on the stove, and then I'll add them together when it comes to the plate. To go with the fish, I've got some winter chanterelles, which are amazing at the moment. These are from Scotland, picked, and they're wild. They're such a fantastic mushroom, I don't want to cook them, so all I'm going to do is salt them. It just firms them up a little bit. I'm just going to let these sit at room temperature, 10 to 15 minutes, and you'll notice the difference when you taste it. So for the last component, I've got some Brussels sprouts. Just cut the core off at the bottom. Remove any outer leaves. If you just run a small sharp knife in and then remove that core. Find the spine, push it, you'll release it into its leaves. What we're left with is some lovely little sprout leaves. You can see they're all nice light green and yellow, so they're not going to be really strong. So I'm going to cook it in a butter and water emulsion, just equal quantities of water and butter. Straight in as it's boiling. These are going to take about 1 minute. So in the pan, a little bit of oil, some butter. Once the butter's at a gentle foam, it'll start just going slightly brown. Lay the fish in gently. I'm going to add some star anise, almost Christmas association, some orange zest, just a few strokes so all those oils hit the butter. Turn the fish over onto its other side. So once I've achieved the colour I want on both sides, I'm going to turn it over and stand it up. A little bit more butter to the pan. Just nappe the butter over the fish. So I'm going to cook the fish at 140 degrees for 8 minutes. So really, really gentle, nice and slow at a low temperature. The first side I'm going to do is the cauliflower. So just straight into the bowl. Show off that lovely caramelised cauliflower. Then straight on top, the chestnuts, which have still got just a little bit of bite to them. So to make a dressing for the fish, I've got an emulsion here which is made with brown chicken stock, brown butter, lemon juice and soy sauce. And I'm going to add that to the butter that's got all the flavour in there. Reglaze the fish, and for the salted mushrooms, a little bit of the dressing to them, which is going to season it up. First thing onto the plate, these sprouts. Just scatter them around. Then the chanterelles. Now on with the fish. Just to add a little pepperiness, I'm just going to add some watercress. And then finish with the nice split buttery dressing and tie all the flavours in together. So getting the celeriac out of the oven now. Now, from previous experience of cooking it, I know that this is ready. If you use a nice sturdy, strong knife and take your time, this is a job that the father of the family can do. Instead of carving a turkey, they can crack the celeriac. Then just pop the lid back, and you see all that steam escaping. And inside you've got a beautiful, soft celeriac. Scrape back that skin, spoon it out, and you can see how delicate, soft and intense that is all the way through. So the last side I've got is the beer-pickled onions. If you've done them the day before or earlier on and they're in the fridge, just re-warm them in the liquor so they're not cold, so you get them back up to at least room temperature. Straight into the bowl with some of the liquor as well. And that's the onions finished, so everyone can help themselves. So this is the roasted gurnard with sprouts and mushrooms, cauliflower with chestnuts and curry powder, beer-pickled onions, salt-baked celeriac. Perfect for sharing, and there's my alternative Christmas meal finished.